Three, it's turning me on.
Yes, sir. Lots of
All right.
crazy shit happening. Unfortunately, not unfortunately. Well, yeah, no. Unfortunately, Biden is our president. And despite all of the government, CIA, ex, ex intelligence officer information dropped by Q was so surprisingly incorrect. There was no storm.
Hmm.
Kraken. There's nothing to wait for. He just conceded.
Hmm.
And that's got a lot of people on like the Chan boards and Parlor pretty pissed off. They're not super happy. Um, I talked to somebody who is interested in the Patriot Party, um, which is
Oh
weird.
no.
Yeah, Donald Trump is apparent, or at least followers of Donald Trump. People are trying to start a new party called the Patriot Party. That, based on what I've seen so far, they're either all for Donald Trump and that he's the figurehead, or they're starting the Patriot Party to spite Trump because he's a traitor and like a Democrat plant, and he's part of the swamp as well. So, not
Oh, it's got to be one or the other for sure.
right. I mean, or it's both for all of them at the same time, because
Hmm.
the far right being ultra contradictory is a necessary part of their situation because it keeps people kind of confused, keeps them in a state of like needing to look towards the leaders for like, what do we think now? It's not a lot of critical thinking, because if they did, they'd realize that a lot of the ideas that they're pushing out don't make no sense. Like, how Parlor is literally, or
Please
well,
tell us what to
was.
think.
Please tell us what to think. Um, but like on Parlor, there were literally people who were like, "Yo, dude, I was fucking killing it at the Capitol riot, bro. Check out pics of me and the boys." And then other people who were literally like, "Nah, man, that Capitol riot shit was bullshit. That was Antifa. It was a false flag." So like, both sides, like Parlor on all sort of fronts, and just like the alt right and many fronts is a very very confused place. They're not even sure what the fuck is going on. But yeah, that's one
Yeah,
thing.
I'm just gonna make this point just because um it comes to mind, and I feel like I'm gonna lose it if I don't. But so a point that I saw recently, I think someone else on TikTok made it. I don't remember the guy's name. I'm so sorry, but he was saying like, look, one of the things that we have to do is we have to stop this sort of characterization of the Capitol rioters as like, or these MAGA people as like these uneducated hicks, that don't know no better and they're racist and they're yeehaw. I'm like, no, these are dudes like they could afford to fly to DC or take time off from their jobs
Hmm.
and
Or go down there in a private fucking jet, um, you know, like armed to the teeth and dressed up in very expensive tactical gear. That shit's not like cheap, especially in the XL sizes. But yeah, no. To further that point, there are a lot of people who are they're very well off. Like these are suburbanites who have nice houses and whatnot, big old trucks, that are feigning this sort of oppressive, like they're LARPing being oppressed, they're LARPing being subjugated by things that are just like wearing masks. Like that's not no one's like obstructing your freedom to breathe. You are just being asked to be sort of mindful of others and the fact that this is a respiratory illness, causing our pandemic, and a little mask will do just a very, very little bit, just the littlest bit to mitigate the spread. And the other thing is, like, it's also pretty indicative what these people's like gripes are when they protested. Like, I'm pretty sure these pro-Trump rioters were the same people who were like the anti-mask fucking rioters who were blocking roads to hospitals and whatnot, and their signs were like, "Oh, I need a haircut. Oh, I want to go out to eat. Oh, please let me, go shopping," and put service people at risk. Like, these aren't people who are struggling to maintain themselves during this pandemic. These people are just pissed off that they can't go outside because, like, instead they just follow the leader. And because Trump was like, "Oh, it's no big deal," they're like, "Oh, dude, totally no big deal. Big Daddy said so. So apparently we just gotta hop to and follow suit." But yeah, no, it's a great point that, like, a lot of these folks are pretty well off. You know what I mean? They're taking vacation days. And a lot of them were military and, like, police officers and shit, taking time off so they could go storm the Capitol. That shit's fucking, like, insane to me. Like, I believe there was a statistic of like 1 in 5 people that was at the Capitol riot was like someone in the armed services. That's fucking, it's frightening. And, like, I don't know. There are a lot of issues here. How are you doing with your audio, buddy? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Everybody on the floor, come on, get through.
Dude.
But more importantly, Biden has been inaugurated. There was no crazy response, at least, during on the 20th. No storm. Surprised, very surprised. And a pretty peaceful transition of power. One thing to note is everyone was super hype about the fits, the drip, the aesthetics of this inauguration. And I think that might be a bit of an issue. I mean, I don't know. Gives me Hunger Games vibes.
It all disconnected my AirPods to make me think that I had low AirPod battery.
Uh-huh.
But that was not the case. My AirPods are at 97%. So
Apple's just a liar.
Just killing it. Yeah, just killing it right now, dude.
Killing the game. Gotta love that top tier technology.
Yeah, I can show it, but I've got this entire setup going on here, right? I've got all this fucking, I've got
fancy tech.
I've got all this technology and all this bullshit, and here I can't get a single fucking Bluetooth headphone to work.
Oh man, be like that. It's because we're old.
Yeah, it is because we're old. That could be the only reason why.
No, that's so ass. Anyway, yeah, I think that's still a really, really great point, though. Like, the imagery of the basement dwelling, like, it's really funny that the fucking shaman guy, like, literally was a failed actor living in his mom's basement. It'd be like that.
Yeah.
But, the overwhelming majority, it is kind of funny. You know what I mean? Because, like, it just is the stereotype, and that's kind of hilarious. But the issue is that is not the case. We were not seeing, a a rising up of working people who are expressing their like very real grievances. But more so, these are people who we essentially enacted a coup. We did what we usually do down in South America, where a free and fair election goes one way, and then we just fund the opposition party and let the CIA go around and boop around and say, "Oh no, we lost. It was fraudulent." You know what I mean? Same fucking thing, same disinformation. Um, and it's like these folks that are in there are like, they didn't even have a plan. You know what I mean? They went in and they stayed in between the lines, and they were looking to like blow shit up. Like this was, a bunch of people who in their spare time have hobbies that are incredibly expensive. Those big ass guns. The dude that had a heart attack either by tasing his nuts or just having a heart attack. Like there's photos of him with two big ass fucking bazooka looking guns, and it's like those things weren't fucking cheap, bro. Like,
no, guns and trucks aren't cheap. Again, like there's this characterization of these poor hicks and poor rural people like conservatives. Let's not hide that fact, but there's a characterization going on here that's just false. Yeah, because the thing is, like, I mean, guns are expensive, and like these big lifted trucks you see them driving around in, I mean, trucks are like fucking $50,000 vehicles. They've got money, they've got good credit. I mean, it showed a lot of them were what do you call it? Like active or former military and police. I mean, these are your doctors, these are your lawyers, these are all the people that make good money that they're pro Trump and they're conservative because they don't want to pay taxes. I mean, my ex's father made $500,000 a year, and he fled the state of New York to Tennessee just because of taxes. And New York is a state that won't pursue you for financial means. So he just owes hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes in the state of New York, but they're not going to come after him in Tennessee.
That's kind of insane. And I hate how money crimes are dealt with, because like you just kind of you can just go from New York to Tennessee, and all of a sudden you're just force field. I don't have to pay in to the system that helped me build my wealth. What do I ship things and I use public roads, but I don't need to maintain them. I don't need to put in a little bit to make sure that them highways that everybody uses. No, it's my money. Pay my workers.
I'm not going to do it.
I don't want to pay my workers. It's mine.
Employees.
My profit.
What is that?
My profit. Like, fuck you, dude. No,
oh my God.
But in all seriousness, it's like, these are the kinds of folks that are out there, like, trying to overthrow the government because they want tax havens, they want breaks, they want even more power and privilege in this society, and the slightest threat to it is making them react violently. This is actually kind of a pattern. Like the civil rights movement was met with a whole lot of violent shit afterwards. Even leading from like the Jim Crow era, or before the Jim Crow era, you had a bunch of like essentially like separate black towns and black run economies and like neighborhoods and whatnot that were doing quite well, and they or at one point, there's a one point where there was like an all black like state body, and they were running shit, and there was a white supremacist insurrection that essentially murdered all of those people and installed like the Jim Crow era stuff. And it's crazy. Like we get a little bit of progress, and then we get this like crazy harsh reaction back. and it's sort of enabled by our really shitty two-party system, because it's a constant back and forth between people who are trying to, maintain some rights and people who are constantly trying to eviscerate them. Oh, well, that made sense. While Jed's dealing with his technical stuff, how's our one viewer doing? How you feeling today? You enjoying the Dope Panic podcast live? I hope so.
So you can hear me.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
It's not on your end. It's entirely on my end still, for sure.
I'm reaching out and calling for you. Can you hear me now? Bow, bow, bow. Technical difficulty. Oof. But to get on to another topic,
I need you to rant about something for me.
I'm gonna rant real
Give me
quick.
a good old rant.
I'm gonna give you the good old college rant. So check this out. I've been getting a bit of a negative reaction to my expressing my feelings about Mr. Senor Biden, right? And a lot of that is based on my concerns that there is a pattern, right? This pattern is of neoliberal austerity politics. And what that means is politics that are aesthetically, talking about a goal, something like the Just Say No campaign from the Reagan era, right? Just Say No was basically just a show to be like, hey, kids, don't do drugs. Drugs are doing bad, and you shouldn't do them. And that was supposed to solve, the crack epidemic, despite the fact that these Schedule I substances were being brought into the country.
Oh, wait, hold on. Are you talking about DARE?
No, well, DARE's one of them. I mean,
Okay.
same thing. But it's essentially just like, no, the Just Say No campaign was like in the 80s. But essentially what it is it creates sort of a fake version of a solution to a problem. And it does not end up mitigating anything. And for the most part, it ends up doing a lot more harm than good, right? And these are things that you can see in other sort of policies, right? Because you've got like the ACA. The ACA was a grand old thing for a certain demographic of people. It did indeed make insurance a bit more accessible for I think it was like lower class, like middle class folks. You know what I'm saying? Or like some lower class folks. But at the same time, there were fees and all this fines and all this nonsense that went along with it that made it actually more detrimental for some people, right? And it ended up, alienating a bunch of folks because of the way that it was set up and the way that, it was sort of gutted, right? Another one of those would be, talking about like compromise or reaching across the aisle. Oh, we gotta be, we gotta be bipartisan. We gotta like make sure that we're including the Republicans on stuff, right? That seems like it's going to be a way to find the sort of center path or the middle way. But this middle way ends up leaning more right after all of the compromise and whatnot. And so it gives it looks bad on the Democrats, right? That's painful, but it also makes the Republicans look a little bit better or it gives the Republicans a thing to point the finger at and be like, hey, fuck you. Look at this Democrat thing that got fucked up. It's all their fault. And, these very flimsy policies end up alienating more and more people to the point that they start, losing faith in the democratic sort of system and look for something different. And if there is a lack of like proper education and understanding of what different is, you end up with someone like Trump, because all of these sort of band-aid policies lead us into really shitty economic situations and make people feel a bit like it ends up, while they're saying, oh, everything should be good, things aren't really all that good, and people are still struggling, and they're just like, fuck, this shit isn't working. I need, I'm just going to try a whole new thing. And, in that whole new thing, we've seen this happen before in another country that was doing okay economically, and then they started to do not so good. And there was one group of people who were like, "Hey, man, we should nationalize the means of production. We should do this stuff where we give everybody a whole bunch of shit, and it's our fault because we kind of fucked up our finances." And then there's another guy who's like, "No, dude, we're perfect. We're amazing. We're the best. I'm going to bring us back to like some fire times." You know what I'm saying? You remember the good times, right? You remember that? You remember the good times we was having back then before those fucking dickheads got here? And then they point to some dickheads who are usually a marginalized group. And they're like, those fucking dicks, they're the reason why you won't have a job, or that your bread is not as valuable anymore. And all that sort of alienation culminates into anger. And they're like, let's get them.
It's serotoninous nostalgia, the same way that we have nostalgia for things that we experienced as children that gave us serotonin, and we don't really remember the bad. They do that with times of economic prosperity in the United States. But those are also times that, it was a little more racist and a little more exclusive, and, and they don't remember a lot of things. I mean, another thing is like, oh, if you're younger and you're a kid, you don't pay attention, right? Like, if you were a kid and things were amazing when FDR was president, you don't fucking know what fucking policies he enacted. You remember things being great. You remember there not really being a whole lot of like black entertainment and a whole lot of Mexican workers, but you remember things being good, and they draw on that, and it's drawing on emotion. And I'm not saying that, leftists don't do the same thing, because we do, but it's a different type,
It's creating a mythology. It's creating a false image of the past. It's like when people pull up like photos of women in the or like couples in the 50s, and they're just like, or they talk about the divorce rate in the 50s, and they're like, oh man, the divorce rate is like skyrocketing. People just aren't happy. And it's like, no, dude, women didn't really have the right to divorce men or have their own separate bank accounts until like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Like once you were married, you were stuck. You were financially dominated, essentially. And most of the time, in the photos where everyone looks all nice, it's great. But at home, they're kicking the shit out of their wives.
Yeah, I mean,
and that was normal.
It's like the oh my god, I'm sure you've seen the memes of the people who are just like, in our grandma's time, they stayed together until they died, blah, blah, blah. Like, now everyone's, like, cheating on each other and getting divorced, and it's just like, yeah, because you couldn't without being, one, ostracized, or two, probably beaten to a fucking pulp as a woman. I mean...
It was a very, very dangerous time to, have an opinion as a woman.
Oh, yeah. And so now, and this is actually a, fucking... R.I.P. He doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, he does, but we don't give him any time of day. But Louis C.K., he had a stand-up piece about divorce, and he said, he said, stop that shit. When people go like, oh no, and they're all sad when people are getting a divorce, cut it out, because it's a good thing. What it means is there's no longer an unhappy marriage.
Yeah.
Like getting a divorce, like. Yeah, it sucks, and it takes a toll on children if there's children, and I feel bad for the kids. But if you're talking about two people that are in a relationship that is no longer happy, them splitting is the amicably is the best scenario that can happen. Like, there's if you hear about people getting a divorce, you should be glad for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, damn, you guys figured out it didn't work, and you're not, just spending time resenting each other for the next like 50 years.
Yeah.
Good on you, bro.
And the same thing, like, this isn't always the case. This has happened, like, people getting fired from a job, right? From COVID, it's been for a lot of reasons. It's not always a good thing. But if you get fired from a job like I did, let go twice, simply because you're not a culture fit, that's a good thing for both you and the employer. Because for you, it means that they didn't truly value who you were as a person, your work, and any of those things. And asking an employer to do those kinds of things is kind of dumb anyway. But it's, if we're talking about having to function under the reins of capitalism in the first place and corporatism, you at least want to find the best workplace for you. And I can say, through my long trajectory of multiple careers or multiple jobs, just quick backstory. Graduated in 2015. In 2016, in the basically
Jedlore.
Jedlore, yeah. If you want the history of middle, the Encyclopedia of Middle Jed, this is where you're gonna get it. Yeah, so basically, in 2016, I went to go work for PBS.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a job like 6 months out of school, basically, and I was like super stoked. And I got a job with the state, great benefits, solid pay. I moved to Maryland, all these things, got let go in like less than a year, right? And then sold cars for a while, blah 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 blah. Got another job at a large company, a large corporation that was like IT based, and it seemed like a really good fit, and they were really open minded, and blah blah blah. And then I got let go again, and it basically came to I came to the conclusion that like my personality just doesn't mesh with the corporate workplace. Like I can't be this kind of person that's like always working and just kind of robot emotion, blah blah blah, like this sort of functionality that they expect out of you, even though they're like open-minded and cool. There's always someone looking over your shoulder. There's always like, I remember one time, like I finished doing I finished shooting and editing a video and getting it off the client early, and then I was like, well, fuck it, that was like the thing I had to do. So I legitimately started looking at like houses, because I was like, if I'm gonna be making this money, blah blah blah, then maybe I'll be in Maryland for a while and I could buy a house in a couple of years. What am I looking at market wise? And then when I had my next meeting with my supervisor, he was like, oh, and you gotta cut out like going on websites and stuff that's not like work oriented. Like I saw you like you were like looking at houses, just like don't do that. And I'm like, I was like I was working with like my team, but like it wasn't like a hey, don't look at that. It was they're gonna report to the boss about that instead. Sort of very like over the shoulder, behind your back kind of slick shit.
Yeah.
And immediately,
if your work is done, like that's kind of really what annoys me about, at least from what I hear about corporate culture, is like if you get your work done, you're just supposed to keep doing shit, and it's like, yeah. but the work is done.
It's a scenario where I should have just taken the full amount of time even though I finished it in like 2/3 the time, And it's this whole idea of productivity in the workplace in America, anywhere, that if you're not working, it's a bad thing. Like it's like in retail or food service. If you're not standing or whatever, it's so dumb. So yeah, like I had this like.
Oh, dude, there was this when I worked at this hemp cafe, just increasingly over time, they would like take chairs away, or be like, "You guys can't sit," and it's like, what are we doing? What's wrong, man? Like people still come in, people buy coffee. I get up and make the coffee, and I just want like there were so many hours in that spot where there was just nothing to do. Like I would clean, I would organize things, I'd make a little video for the Instagram, and then 5 hours would pass by and no one would come in, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna sit. Do I have to stand for this entire time? This is crazy.
There's going to be periods of downtime in an 8-hour workday or longer. Like I worked at Starbucks, and they were like, if you've got time to sit down, you got time to do something, and I'm like, no, we like did the shit. So like when I was a shift manager, I legit didn't run my shifts like that. I was like, let's just like sit down and wait. Like, you know, it's really busy in the mornings. We're a drive-through store, so it's super busy. You know what I mean? Like people on their way to work, and we were on a main road that goes to a highway. So it's like, I mean, so after the morning, the open shift was like done, and we were there was some downtime. I'm like, y'all, let's just like chill. Like we'll play some music, we'll hang out, blah blah blah. It's fine. And then if someone comes in, we deal with that. But like there were times like I couldn't run my shift like that if the store manager was there, because then she'd be like up my ass, you know. And it's just it's this idea of productivity and work that just doesn't work well. It's there's places that like it's like what is it? It's like cashiers, right? In Europe, like they're more productive because they can sit, you know. They're more productive. There's places that experiment. There's countries that experiment with a 4-day work week instead of a 5-day. They're more productive and they get more work done in the 4 days than places in the U.S. do in 5. You know, or instead of 8-hour work days, it's like 7-hour work days. You know, it's like that kind of thing. And the whole idea is like the 40-hour work week is an antiquated institution, like system, right? And it doesn't work for, you know, the modern world, where a lot of the work that you need to get done gets done faster than those 8 hours, you know. But they've generated this hourly pay system also that basically, you know, that since you're getting paid hourly, the company needs a way to justify paying you hourly, so they have you work for those 8 hours, and it's stupid, you know. Like so now I'm like infinitely more happy. Like I'm not, when I worked at Tech, which the name of the company, I'm actually not gonna say the name of the company, but when I worked at Tech, I made like, this is not a flex, but like I made like just about like 6 figures, right? Right now I am making like half of that, but I am so much more happy. Like, and it just goes to show that work environment is so much more important than money, right? Like I'm privileged in the fact that I'm not financially struggling. That's not a flex. It's just like it's me recognizing where my privileges are, right? And like I don't have like a ton of money, but I have money for the things that I need and some of the things that I want, you know. And when I made all that money, you know, I would buy all this shit because I was making up for how unhappy I was 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you know. And I thought I was happy, and I thought I had a forever job because of the money I was making, you know. I thought I was happy because I was making that money. And now again, like, I mean, like, yeah, I still have like, you know, stresses here and there. I have this and that, but like, if we're talking about like just my day-to-day life, like, I don't fucking hate going into work every day. I like going to both of my jobs, you know. And so for the people who are watching and the people who will watch on YouTube or who will listen on any like Spotify, what have you, I'm now a teacher. So I teach film production at a private boarding school, and I don't get paid a lot, you know, but I love doing it. My other job is, I work in property management, so for a landlord, which is like, I'm not a landlord, I'm a liaison to a landlord, I'm a leasing agent for...
Give me 2 seconds, gotta grab something.
Yeah. I feel like this might just be me doing self-justification, but I feel like a justifiable part of it is that it's luxury living. It's not like denying basic housing. It's like people choosing to spend an exorbitant amount of money on luxury living, as opposed to like, you know, being sort of the gatekeeper to affordable housing. I feel like that's the smallest justification I can make, but the reason why I work there is because it's one of the few places that would pay me a decent amount hourly, give me a consistent work week schedule, but also allow me to teach at the same time, and they even let me teach on the job there. Like, I'm allowed to go take my laptop to work, go in the back room, and teach a Zoom class for an hour, and they don't care.
That's flexible.
And so, and the way this job is like, yeah, so I have people up above, right? Like, people at corporate that are all like, we got to do the productivity, yada, 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 right? Whatever. My property manager is just like, dude, if you do the shit that I ask you to do and you get your work done, I don't give a fuck what you do otherwise. Like, if you want to watch Twitch, don't care. If you want to watch TikTok, don't care. Sometimes she'll walk out, I'll be done. Like, I'm like, I drew up all the leases and I did all the things that you guys asked me to do today. We have a couch in the leasing office. I'll just be sprawled out on the couch on TikTok drinking coffee, and she's cool with that as long as I've done my work. Or she's like, hey, did you do this thing? And I have to remain productive for them to keep me on. But it's also that's also a scenario where, like, yeah, they pay me hourly, but there isn't like a work justification like there is for a lot of other places, because when people sign a lease, it means that they're making the place has a guaranteed source of income for that unit for a year. You know what I mean? So it's not like somewhere like food service where someone comes in and makes a purchase, or it's not like retail where you have to sell a product. You know what I mean? It's not like car sales where you have to sell a product. It's housing. It sells itself. I hate saying it that way, but housing as a product does sell itself. So the amount of selling you have to do is pretty minimal,
Yeah, real estate sales are nonsense.
Yeah. Now, it's also very different from like a house, It's like apartments, but it's like you now have that person paying rent for a year when you sign them to a lease, or more or shorter, but the minimum we do is 6 months, right? So it's not like tomorrow, the next day I have to come in and sell another amount of product. You know what I mean? It's like once we're at a capacity, it's just like smooth sailing. So like, and plus the thing is, like, I've already proven myself pretty invaluable there because, like, one, I have multiple residents that are like, I know so many residents like on a first name basis. I have multiple residents who are always like, he's the best thing that ever happened here. Like, he brought him in, blah, blah, blah. And then my property manager has been there for like 2 years, and the other leasing agent's been there for like 4, right? They never hit 100% occupancy. Over the summer, I am basically the sole reason as to why we hit 100% occupancy. Because I just leased out so many fucking apartments.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Look at you bringing in revenue for parasites. Love it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, sometimes you do what you got to do, it's the fucking the trap of decapitalism, because
it is.
Because you end up having to like screw people over to make it, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not proud of the work. I think it's one of those scenarios that you do what you have to do, because despite your ideals, we all still have to function and live through capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And I need money, and I needed a situation that was going to work. Like, prior to starting work there, I started working there in like November of 19, right? Prior to that, for about 4 months, I worked so many small bullshit odd jobs. Like, I mean, I was like just wringing myself out. Like, I taught, and I was going in-person teaching because this was pre-COVID. I did that. I would drive to South Jersey, 2.5 hours each way, twice a week, to shoot high school football games.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Not
that.
with a gun, but with camera.
Thank you for the distinction.
Yeah, I was a paid school shooter.
Alex Jones is gonna look for you, dude. You're gonna get Alex Jones on us, bro.
I want Alex Jones to be.
I want that kind of attention.
I want to meet him.
I would love for Alex Jones to be like, he's an enemy of the state.
They're turning the friggin' frogs gay.
He's a gay frog.
He's a gay frog. No. I did that. I worked at fucking JCPenney, shooting like portraits in the studio. But like I had, and then I did like DoorDash. You know what I mean? And it's like I was never home. I was doing all this fucking work, and I was making like money. You know what I mean? Like I was making like just barely enough to scrape by based on my bills. You know what I mean? And I was like I was doing all this bullshit and I had to remember to do all this shit. You know what I mean? So, like, again, it came down to a scenario where I applied so many places. I applied to fucking wash cars. You know what I mean? Like, to be a car washer, like a hand car washer, because they paid like 11 an hour. And then I came into a scenario where, like, again, like they gave me a call. I applied to this place, they gave me a call, and it's like they give me a consistent like 30 to 35 hours a week. You know, I can have less or more if I want it. I can teach. They pay me like 18 an hour. And I get like a commission. You know what I mean? And I don't have this strict work environment where someone's over my shoulder. This bullshit. Like I'll sit at the front desk because I'm the front desk person. I'm also like a fucking what you call it, like liaison or receptionist.
You show people around and you make sure paperwork is all together.
Yeah, but I'm also like the first person anyone sees when they come in because I'm at the front desk. You know what I mean? Like I'm like a receptionist, administrative assistant, leasing agent. That's the best way to describe it. I can sit there on the computer on Twitch or watching YouTube, you know, and it's like no big deal as long as my work is done. Or as long as I do whatever my property manager asks me to do if she asks me to do something.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's pretty damn...
So, I mean, you do what you got to do for a work environment too. Like, I mean, it's far. It's like an hour drive each way for me each day, right? It's not super far mileage-wise. It's just it's all local driving, which is why it takes an hour. And, you know, I've had talks with Trish about this. And, you know, we've talked about, like, I could find a place way closer that pay the same amount, but I don't know if I could guarantee the same kind of work environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't guarantee I wouldn't have a hard-ass manager that would need shit from me all the fucking time. And I would I would hate the shit. Like, I deal with the time it takes to drive there solely for the fact that I have a pretty free and open work environment.
Yeah. No, that's a fucking valuable thing. And it's an interesting little path that you've been on. You know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad you've got dude, it's a good thing to have a work environment that doesn't make you feel like shit.
Exactly. So,
I was gonna say, back on fucking Biden, because I am not done talking shit about this man. So he's done 30. No, thank you. He's got 30 executive actions in the first 3 days, right?
yes.
You know, he is reversing the ability to collect. He's restoring collective bargaining power and worker protections for federal workers, and lays down the foundation for $15 minimum wage. That's grand. Calls for assistance to those who are struggling to buy food, missed out on stimulus checks, or are unemployed. Also, pretty lit. You know, it seems like he's trying to mitigate a lot of the issues and put the American people at least at somewhat of a rest. And domestically, that's grand. But I'm here to talk shit about his international stuff.
He did rejoin the Paris Climate Accord.
Yes. Also, the fact that we left the Paris Climate Accord was fucking insane. And I hate the fact that is.
Did you read Ted Cruz's tweet?
Oh yeah, when he like quoted Trump and he's like, oh yeah, he cares more about the citizens of Paris than the fucking citizens of Pittsburgh. And it's like, dude, shut up.
And then AOC was like, do you think that the Geneva Convention was about the interests of the citizens of Geneva or like
foolishness?
I swear, you know what I think it is? I think Ted Cruz is trying to grab hold of he's
trying to be Trump. He wants to win in 2024. That's his.
Yeah, he's trying to grab hold of the MAGA people and bring them in under his wing. So yeah, he can run in 2024. Because like
his little cruisies.
His little zodiacs.
His zodiacs. But what I wanted to talk about was Biden recognizing Juan Guaido as Venezuelan's president, as opposed to Nicolas Maduro. Now, if you're Jed, I don't know how familiar you are with the whole Venezuela Maduro thing, but so
not incredibly. I'm not gonna lie and say that I am. Isn't Maduro bad?
No.
No, okay.
No, Maduro's not.
I'm thinking of someone else then.
Guaido. So Guaido is part of the opposition party. The opposition party has this tendency to scream and shit its pants every time they lose an election fairly. And while there are issues with Maduro, he did like win those elections pretty fairly. They had an election, and then they're like, "Oh, it was fraudulent." I think some like UN or US like election police were like, "That's fraudulent," and so he was like, "Okay, we'll have another one, and you guys can like take a look and examine our voting system." But like I believe like their version of the Supreme Court sort of passed his ability to run again because he was so fucking popular, and he still won. Mm-hmm. So it's he is officially like the dude. He's the guy. He's running Venezuela. The problem is that he is not favorable to the interests of the American capitalist system. Venezuela's got a lot of oil. We really, really like oil. And Maduro's not too keen on, continuing a one-sided relationship with the United States in regards to their oil stuff. So they're not too happy about it. And I'm not too happy about the fact that Biden is continuing to push for international regime change and international conflict in support of the United States' capitalist interests.
So it's one of those imperialistic shit, here we go again situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. People fucking forget what happens every 30 years and it sucks. But we essentially, a lot of the conflicts that we're in where we're fucking fighting like rebels or terrorists or whatever, it's because at some point 30 years ago, Reagan or Bush 1 fucking went in and were trying to do some regime change, and they fucking sold some weapons and traded some people and let them take over the government. And then once they start being too extreme and crazy, then and we go back in there and we're like, oh, we got to stop these guys. And it's like, nah, man, you guys kind of created the conditions for these people to arise. This is sort of your fault. We wouldn't have had 9/11 if it wasn't for our involvement in fucking with that African Asian spot, because the Middle East is not actually it's not a place. That's not actually what it's called. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just that area,
Isn't that Eurasia? Isn't that what that?
Eurasia, I guess. Eurasia, or it's like.
And Northern Africa?
Northern Africa and Asia and all that area,
Yeah.
Fucking, Iraq, Iran, Palestine, Israel, all those, that spot on the map.
Yeah.
We've been doing dickhead shit and knocking people over who were trying to, build power in a way that was not beneficial to our interests. And they're just like, looks like you need some democracy. And that shit's not bueno. You know what I mean? We are it seems like we're continuing to put our noses in the business of other countries and, stop economic development, because it's better for us for them to be struggling and us be the only source of their income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that immediately we saw some pretty neo-lib bullshit, but what we're looking at is, surprisingly one of the most progressive platforms that we've had in recent years, and we have to put in work, we have to apply pressure, we have to advocate, but we can hope that we didn't have a slew of young progressive senators and Congress people 4 years ago, 8 years ago, You know, like when Obama was president and he had the majority as well. You know, like we had the occasional here and there, but you know the people who were running in the primaries were all like, you know, but now we have people, and you know some people have a pretty surprising amount of influence. Like we talk about AOC, you know, they've gained influence out of you know, social popularity because we're living in a technological age, and you know the ways that things happen just happen differently now. So you know, AOC is probably one of the most prominent progressive members of Congress in general. Almost anyone who knows anything about politics knows who she is. You know what I mean? That probably wouldn't have been the case for a junior senator a decade ago, right? So we can only hope that like a lot of the newer members of the squad, guys like John Ossoff, Raphael Warnock, you know, all the other members, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, whatever, they start putting on pressure and social pressure, which it seems like they do because we also didn't have Twitter as a major platform then either. Like it existed, but to the degree that it does now, it didn't. So and the way that social media has like influenced our elections hasn't is a pretty new phenomenon. I'd say honestly, Trump Hillary was like the first one where it was like a major phenomenon of like how it was influenced. So you know, I think it's going to be very different in government moving forward. It's not going to be your sort of like, I think again, we as the people are going to have to push for things, but I think there's going to be sort of a stronger representation, a stronger way of connecting with politicians because of technology. And what we're going to have to do is, and this is sort of my take on it, but as we impose and pass progressive legislation, you know, and things slowly get better and people get more and more comfortable with these progressive policies, we'll be able to sort of trend toward the route that we're looking for. So to give an example, right? We agree on police abolishment, right? Government's not going to abolish the police overnight. What we have to do is initiate defunding efforts, which has happened in a couple places. People will get used to a lack of police overpresence. They'll get used to the fact that crime rates aren't skyrocketing. They'll recognize what kind of benefits the defunding actually had, and then that's like the step, the little step toward abolishment, because it means people are no longer so heavily and socially reliant on the police, and they're not taking up a huge portion of our tax dollars as an institution. So that's how I view things. I view things as like Medicare for All is another really big one, right? That I think it's a little bit closer than a police abolishment to attainability, but I think we're still a few stone throws away. Something that will help get us there is replenishing and re-expanding on the ACA. Now it's not the desired outcome. You don't want to just stop right there, but allowing and expanding the efforts for eligibility for affordable healthcare will show people that, hey, state-provided healthcare through taxes is actually better than the fucking bullshit that we have to fucking deal with, with private insurances. And hopefully not allowing states to run their own fucking ACA institutions, because Trish has Medicaid, and when we were on Medicaid in Maryland, it was great. It covered fucking everything. They didn't really ask questions or make us jump through hoops for things. She could go to almost anybody, right? Here in Pennsylvania, it's like they don't want to fucking do shit for you, Trish needs a psychiatrist and a psychologist. She can only go to one of two places. It's county based. So she can only go to one or two places in Montgomery County, and the fucking quality of service she receives there is terrible. Like they won't cover her ADHD meds like they did in Maryland, so I have to pay out of pocket $80 a month for them. Luckily, they cover all of her other meds because otherwise that'd be $1,700 a month. And of course, that's not even the real cost of it. It's what they charge. But okay, Tingus Dingus. Me rant. Okay. Yeah. So like a lot of those things that we see as attainability. You know, I had this conversation with a friend recently. Like Mika, Jewel and I are both big proponents of anarcho-communism. I don't specifically identify with any platform or specific ideology. I call myself a leftist, but I'd say most of what I believe in does like resonate. Like anarcho-communism resonates with me, but you know we're not just gonna become an anarcho-communist society overnight. You know, a lot of things need to happen, and I see that as almost as something that won't happen in my lifetime. I don't want to guarantee that because clearly I would prefer it if it did. But it's such a radical change to any system that exists in the world right now that you know that would be incredibly tough. So what I really advocate for as a person, despite you know having my ideologies be mostly aligned with anarcho-communism, is I do a lot of advocating for democratic socialism because I see it as an attainable goal, something that's you know attainable that can be very equitable to everyone. I was explaining that anarcho-communism is not going to happen tomorrow, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
it's a process.
Yeah.
And like somebody said to me in one of my Facebook groups, you know, we don't plant a tree so that we can sit under its shade. We do it for the next generation.
Right.
And, you know, I think that at this point, what we should be doing is pushing for more aggressive reform in a leftward direction. I was looking into this article from is it Jacobin mag?
Jacobin? I think it's Jacobin. It might be Jacobin. I don't know. I say Jacobin in my head when I read it. So
Yakibu.
Jacobin.
So there is they're kind of talking about the language of Biden talking about healthcare. He talks about how he wants to make it secure for all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is the campaign's committed to pursuing a public option, right? You know, bolstering the ACA type of situation. But the pledge to make healthcare secure for all sounds less like a rallying cry for large-scale healthcare reform and more so a vague, you know, distancing from more ambitious action, like you know the affordability and the access conversation, and
right.
So as these two folks, Andrew Perez and Julia Rock, explain, Biden's plan, I'm going to quote this thing, Biden's plan would shovel billions of dollars to private health insurers by providing increased subsidies for Americans to buy coverage through the ACA, which are far more expensive than government healthcare programs and have at the time been plagued by high rates of claim denials. The plan would also subsidize COBRA continuation coverage through September, allowing workers to keep their employment health insurance plans when they're laid off. Those initiatives, which could further boost insurers' skyrocketing profits, were recently recommended in a letter to lawmakers for America's health insurance plans and the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, two insurance lobby groups in Washington that have opposed expansion of government-sponsored healthcare programs.
Yeah.
Which, you know, to me is problematic, and it's, you know, another trend of this sort of corporate fucking Democrat nonsense, this liberal Republican bullshit, where it's like, okay, like I said, it sounds like it's going to help a bunch of people, but really it's lining the pockets of the insurance companies who already have too much power, who already, you know, profit off of not giving good care or overcharging for proper care. And it's kind of crazy that we're in this situation where people are literally almost 500,000 people are dead, like in this year. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like it's just gone. And healthcare costs are fucking crazy, and the people that are getting sick and not, fucking dying are hit with like the craziest fucking bills, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like we're struggling out here, man. We need something transformative, not just like, hey guys, this is a thing that we tried before, and it was all right, but we do it again. It might be all right.
Yeah, we gotta hope. We gotta hope. Well, we gotta obviously pressure our representatives, but we gotta hope that what the expanding the ACA does is it creates a scenario, like I said, where people recognize that state provided healthcare is better than their private. That state provided healthcare is better than private healthcare, and that creates sort of a more of a social. A widespread social support for what will ultimately be Medicare for all. But we can't let it. We can't just sort of let it stop with expanded ACA. And I think there's some hope, there's some optimism to be had in aiming toward M4A, solely because there's a growing number of people in government right now that support it, including the vice president. It was a part of her platform of universal healthcare. It was not a part of Biden's, but it was a part of hers. So we have to hope that her influence as vice president also does something there. So,
I actually had a retort. So while I want to hope and stay positive, like I stated from the article. Right, there's a lot of funneling and subsidizing of these major health insurance groups, right? And if their profits continue to soar, they will continue to have the capital and the access to lobby further away from Medicare for all. So while I can see how like the expansion of the ACA like could possibly be a net good. Part of me is looking at this from the perspective of, if we further subsidize them and they have more profits and they have more like spending cash, then they have even more, like I just said, they have more money to fund more lobbying campaigns.
Yeah.
That eventually will put us at a place where we'll never get universal health care, and that's huge.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. It's one of those where this is the worst analogy I've ever come up with, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's like, okay, so imagine you're getting a hand job, right? And you get, expanding the ACA right now is like a stroke or two, right? And it can go one of two ways here. It can either end in that's it, you got a couple strokes and now you got blue balls. Right? Or you can, go all the way and you can eventually finish with orgasm being Medicare for all. But we have to dictate how this goes. And government is the hand. Government is the ghost hand that is jerking you off. So right now, we've started. ACA is the start. We've started. We have to figure out which direction it's going to go, right?
Listen. Maybe in a few years' time, we'll come back to this conversation, and possibly the ACA is the hand job that gets us finished. But I personally think that we are going to get blue balled as fuck as per usual. I'm kind of afraid that there is a level of dumb fuckery that's going to happen. There's this tweet actually that I was trying to find the article that they were sharing.
Independence blue balls.
Yeah. It's by this lady, Caitlin Johnstone. She said, you can do it, Democrats. Just 2 years of stalling progressive change before you lose the House and Senate and can start claiming the lack of progress is due to an obstructionist Congress. And under they tweet out a photo of a article that says under Biden, it's time for Democrats to let go of Medicare for all, which is, oh, cool, you're already working on it. Good hustle. And I think that's kind of, more telling than the possibility of a stronger ACA. And so to factor in some of the things that you were saying, yes, we do have we're getting more progressive Congress people and senators. And Kamala Harris was, one of strong campaign things was universal health care. So hopefully through public pressure, through, organizing and campaigning, we can continue to we can possibly push this administration to the left and get them listening to their more fringe members of the party, the way that the Republicans do, because the Republicans literally have no problem being like, QAnon, you bunch of crazy fuckers, let's get it.
As long as you're supporting us, bro.
As long as you're fucking voting, bro. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
I mean, no, I agree with you, but I think also what we've done so far in creating sort of a more social acceptance for M4A and electing these more progressive Congress people and senators that have ACA as a part of their platform, I think that's like what's the best way to describe this? That's what we needed to do in this scenario.
Right.
Like, that was the path that we needed to follow. Now, clearly, we're not... My point is basically this was not endgame. This was like...
No, I know. I understand. And I guess my, like I said, my point is I think that this might be some Band-Aids. This might not actually be the sutures of the wounds that we need.
Well, we will see, I guess. We'll see, yeah.
Also... Fun fact. During Biden's inauguration, there was a grand old conflict in Portland. People were getting fucking tear gassed.
Whoa!
Fucked up. Continued protests are happening. Let me get some context. Oh, apparently someone broke a window. They're marching downtown, opposing the police, immigration authorities, and just government in general. Wow, they said, we don't want Biden, we want revenge.
Okay, cool. Revenge for what?
For police murders, imperialist wars, and fascist massacres.
I mean, is this one of those scenarios where, like, they're so close, but they're not? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, these people seem pretty on it, because they're saying abolish ICE.
Oh, okay. I thought these were like MAGA.
No, not MAGA folks. These are like lefties, doing some like anti-police brutality stuff in Portland.
Roger Dodger, my guy.
Yes, indeed. So already people are on the ground. Let's see. But it's just kind of I think it's a fitting, sort of image and metaphor for what's going on currently, because we had that whole celebration. There's all the memes and stuff, but while that's happening, there are still activists on the ground trying to get the bare minimum amount of change necessary to make our society a bit more equitable.
Yeah.
And to know that like a bunch of people are getting roughed up and whatnot is great.
Reversing a bunch of Trump's bullshit was, I guess, like a good start.
Yeah, no,
Small
absolutely.
Start.
It's pretty good. Good. Also, hey Sasha.
What's up?
No, just we had a comment in the chat. That was the first comment of the live.
Gotcha.
Ooh, we're killing it right now.
Killing it. Well, since we're at an hour and 11, I want to say this, I guess, as sort of like that's just a thing. You know what I mean? A thing, yeah, is like I know it's like a long road ahead. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of shit we're gonna have to fight and advocate for. We're gonna ask of our people in power. But I gotta say, like, I have been waking up with a clear head and so relieved of the fact that it's just not. I don't have to deal with just some fucking bullshit every single morning. I don't have to wake up to some goddamn fucking headline about some dumb fucking shit that Trump and Trump's fucking fogies are doing. Like, yeah, the MAGAs are still doing their dumb fucking hobgoblin bullshit, you know? But, like, I don't have to wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, sit down to piss. Yes, I sit down to pee, because it's more comfortable and I want to go on my phone, okay? And I don't have to read about Trump asking why we can't just nuke a hurricane. I don't have to read something about him saying we just need to ban the Muslims. Like,
we don't have to hear about him saying, "Oh, let's rake the fucking forests because that's what's actually causing the fires."
Yeah, I don't have to hear about like just some fucking bullshit every single morning.
We don't need to
I have to
hear about the leader of the free world sharpieing on a fucking hurricane trajectory map.
Yeah, and making it look like a dick, which is what happened. But
it did look like a penis.
And I'm just like, it's like just the tweet every single day, like the fucking headline, the this, the that. Like everyone on like all the MAGAs are kind of sort of creeping back to their hiding spots in social media. You know what I mean? Like that's not specifically a good thing, but I'm glad I don't gotta fucking see them. You know what I mean? Like they still exist and they gotta go away, but at least they're not out in the fucking open, you know, drying like fucking raisins. Okay, like again, there's it's just like this feeling of just. Again, like almost a small amount of relief. It's like Dr. Fauci saying, like, I feel liberated, you know? That's what my Instagram post was about, where I had the fucking photo of Biden and Kamala, you know, holding their hands up. You know, I'm like, this is the starting point, right? We're no longer doing the whoa over the edge of this cliff, and inside the cliff is fascism. You know what I mean? We can start going the other way. You know, we ran out of supplies because of capitalism, and now we got to start heading back toward home base. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I love your hope, but there's a part of me that just wants to crush it right now because I'm like, wow. Oh god! All right, there's a booger in my nose, and I'm gonna there. Nope.
That's what you get for being a negative Nancy.
That is what I get. That's what I get.
Boogers.
Anyway, that was gross.
You're gross.
Anyway, so one of the things that I sort of worry about is the possibility that there is a almost fascistic tendency to the way that Joe Biden is operating, right? Like this sort of back to normal feels almost like a blue MAGA. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we got to go back. Like it's the same sort of thing of going back to a mythological past. Right, because even when things were normal, we were facing, you know, if the Obama era is normal, we were facing grave income inequality, massive like healthcare shortages, you know, fucking recession. Shit's not going so hot right now, and you know, there wasn't like a perfect time, and the problem that I'm, you know, maybe, you know, Democrats are different. They're not inherently authoritarian by nature, but
I'd say some
aren't.
But big but is
you like big butts,
and I cannot lie. the issue. There's also a thing that like Joe Biden did when he was in this conversation with a bunch of black activists discussing police brutality, where he was very self-congratulatory, right? He's like, oh yeah, I called Donald Trump a racist to his face. I'm fighting white supremacy. And it's like, you can say that a problem is a problem. You can identify the problem without doing a goddamn thing. That's not progress. That's complacent, because like everyone knows Donald Trump's racist, and the people that don't know are fucking cult members. You know what I mean? Like it's very blatant. And people fucking, it's blatant, and it either brings people in because they love that shit, or they deny it because they love it, but they're also scared. And so I worry that this sort of this sort of self-congratulatory, like, oh, we got it done, we're doing the thing, is going to be counterproductive. Like I said, I feel like maybe the relief feelings aren't the best, because we're still in like major crunch time, and there is still a pattern of like Democrats doing all right things, but things that end up, like his healthcare plan as it stands, if you were to do it at like to a T from his campaign, would leave like 10 million people uninsured, and that's not a small number to shake, that's not nothing to shake a stick at. That's a lot of fucking people, and so I'm just worried. Also in when it comes to like fascistic tendencies and authoritarian tendencies, the taking down of Parler, and the calling these folks like terrorists, and the FBI sort of upping their surveillance, it might be a direct result of the Trump insurrection. And it's going to cause an expanded version of our already pretty strong surveillance state. Excuse me. And that's worrisome, because they're like, if Trump is a law and order guy and Biden's a law and order guy, and people are like all into law and order, right?
Bum bum.
Fuck. With appeals to law and order, it becomes sort of a carte blanche to sort of meet any insurrection with really violent means, because it starts to do this like sort of both sides horseshoe theory of, say a Portland protest that is happening that happened on the 20th versus the Capitol insurrection. It's like, oh, they're both violent and scary and bad, we gotta put all of them away, right? And then leftists are jailed, just for being outside in a banana costume. Or like, are you frozen? Oh no. Wow, you are so still, bro. You are so still. And hands aren't so good. The face was really, you were like,
I can vibrate.
Give me a couple of cups of coffee and I start vibrating. Just
I agree with you, but I also think you're gonna get wrinkles with all that worrying.
That's fine, dude. I will look like an old man.
I have fantastic complexion, okay, and I agree. I think just the point I'm trying to make here is we are presented with an opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think that there are conditions to our current government system that will be amicable to our interests, right? Totally agree. That being said, the president, while he's not the end all be all, he doesn't make the laws, he doesn't write them, blah, 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 still has a major influence on the direction of the party he represents and the government as a whole. And so if he's like, oh man, I don't really fuck with M4A, everybody that's on the Democratic side, that's more corporate, is just following what the leader says, is going to be like, oh yeah, totally, dude, yeah, man, and they're going to stomp out the progressive voices.
Yeah, but I've also noticed a tendency among these younger, more progressive senators that we've been talking about to not be afraid to call the fucking establishment Democrats on their bullshit. Again, she's probably the most prominent. She's the most prominent voice, but again, like AOC, I mean, she had plenty of tweets, even during after Biden's win, before that, we're like, all right, like when it hits the 20th, you know what I mean? Like this is the shit we're gonna have to fucking do, like, and so I think that it's the brand of having younger people in politics that aren't really afraid and don't really need to play that like fucking partisan respect game. You know what I mean? Like even I think like AOC ripped Ted Cruz to shreds, but I even think that she was a little too nice there. You know what I mean? But it's the scenario where they're not afraid. Like she's not afraid to make that tweet. There's some more establishment Democrats that would never would have done that. That never would have basically not threatened but made a fool out of someone across the aisle because it threatens bipartisanship or some fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like, and the way that these younger senators look at it is just like, look, like our platform is our platform and people are gonna hop on or you're out. Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's the energy that we need.
Yeah. So
I think I've talked about this before, or maybe just in a personal conversation, but my campaign for the left, it's called Ask Higher.
Yeah.
$15 minimum wage. Fuck that. Ask for 25.
Because we really deserve 20 at minimum.
We deserve 20 at minimum. Defund the police. No, abolish that shit. Arrest everyone that was in ICE. Fuck ICE. Pack the citizenship. Nah, man. Fucking give everyone a green card. Give me a green card. I want one.
Just fucking cuz.
Just cuz.
Yeah.
Medicare for all. Medicare and free fucking lip filler for all. Medicare and free plastic surgery.
Yeah, fucking. The only good ice is the ice that Gritty skates on.
Exactly.
So, since we're actually closing on an hour and a half here, I'm going to close this out on...
We'll close out the recorded episode, and I think I might just stay on here and chat and rant.
Yeah, for sure. So I had a funny thought today. I was watching... I went and got Trisha's car state inspected, and while I was there, I was watching the new Boston Dynamics video of their newest robot, right? And they're talking about the future of robotics, about how they could replace a lot of jobs that you wouldn't have specifically suspected that they would, right? And one of the things they listed was retail, right? And I had a thought. I just imagined like a robot working at like Victoria's Secret, right? And you walk in and the robot's like, can I help you today? Right? And you're like, yeah, I need like a bra. It's like, it scans you. I see that one breast is larger than the other, right? And you're like, no, shh, no, why are you telling? Like, one breast is larger than the other. Lopsided. The lopsided bras are on the, like, and it's so fucking loud, just blaring, like, this sound, right? And I'm just imagining all the robots in the fucking store just turning toward you, just going lopsided.
I'm interested to see the Zoomies robot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're a poser. You don't.
No.
You clearly don't skate, but you wear Vans.
No, whoa. Have you been to Zoomies? Zoomies is all about fucking hyping you up for the stupidest shit.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I used to work at Zoomies at the mall in the Connecticut when I was a youngster back in my high school days. And that was, I had to be the most chipper. I was just like, yo, dude, what's up, man? Oh, man, cool shoes, bro. You a skater, dog? Oh, shit, man, those shoes are tight, bro. Oh, my God, dude, you want a skateboard? You want some socks? Oh, my God, that outfit, that's crazy, bro. You should get this. Like, you were just supposed to, you were hyping everyone up.
I remember when I went into Zoomies, I was always just like, don't fucking talk to me.
Oh, yeah, no, it's the fucking worst, dude. I never want to talk to people in Zoomies because 9 times out of 10, like, they're just so excited. And I'm like, I've been there. I've been on the other side of the mirror. You don't think I'm that cool, bro. I know. You just want a big sale. And I get it. I get it. But no, I really want to see that robot. Hey, bro, fresh kicks, man. You skate. Want to see kickflip?
Kickflip, Ollie. Would you like these Supras? $9.99. Shoelaces. Sick tats, bro.
Sick tats, bro.
Oh my god, imagine a bouncer bot. A bouncer bot when you go to a club, but it's COVID, right? It's COVID. So they're scanning everyone for COVID, right? And it goes, so it's going down the line. Beep, 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 clear. Beep, 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 clear. Gets to you, right? Beep, 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 COVID. This one has COVID, right? The COVID police come out and take you away, and the guy behind you is like, oh god, ew, dude, you came out with COVID, bro. Bot turns. Beep, 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 beep. Chlamydia. This one has chlamydia. And he's just like, no, dude. No. Why would you tell people that?
These robots have too much power already. I don't want that.
And then the fucking, then the COVID police come down. And they're all androids that look like fucking Jeff Bezos. So they have Amazon smiles just tattooed on their foreheads.
I don't want a sentient Jeff Bezos robot in my packages. I don't need that.
Oh my god! Imagine. You join the fucking like football team at your school and you have to go to like fucking Dick's Sporting Goods, right, for like a cup, and there's a robot there, and it has to very loudly tell you
Small
the fucking cup
for this
size.
man.
Beep. Cannot detect a bulge. Small cup.
Micro penis.
Starts blaring fucking red signs. Micro penis.
This is, oh god, I would not like to live in the society you have built in your head with these robots, Jed. This is the worst. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Or imagine like they just say the most offhand shit because like the scanning system just gives them all this information. Like just man and son are walking down the street or whatever, right? Bot rolls up. It's like COVID check. You're like, okay, beep, 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 beep. You are not a DNA match. He is not your son. Goodbye. Beep, beep, beep.
That it's the dark side of Betamax. You have now made me afraid of Betamax. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, so that's my closing piece.
I appreciate it. Do we have to? Oh god, do we have to do the what is it? The ad card thing?
Yeah. You want to hit us? With it?
Oh, is that where I tell people where they can find us?
Yeah.
Internet. Oh, that's cool. So you can check us out. Thank you for tuning in to the Don't Panic podcast live here on Comrade Jules Twitch stream. But you can also find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and what's that third one? There's a third one. Remind me.
Anchor.
We're also on Anchor. So check us out. Give us a listen. Bring us in the car. Bring us in the shower. Listen to us while you poop. It's probably the third best show you're going to hear all year.
Third best.
We're shooting high, but we're realistic. You know what I mean?
So who's 1 and 2?
The 2 is I think it's My Favorite Murder. And then 1 is dolphin noises. That's
we're right above like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we're like 2 steps above Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Only because he had Elon on his fucking podcast.
Fuck Elon Musk.
I know. No, that's what I said. Like that's why he's below us.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck Elon. Fuck Elon shirts coming soon. All right. And then the back will be a design. It says fuck Elon on the front with over his face, and on the back it's a circle, and it says space sex.
I like it.
Yeah, and so it's like the NASA logo or whatever, but instead of a shuttle, it's a dick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, merch coming soon.
Merch coming soon. Yeah.
We can't announce that. People are going to expect it from us.
Yeah, the merch we're never gonna make.
But yes, so thank you for tuning in to this portion. I'm going to
Yep.
continue streaming for next like half.
You can find me on SoundCloud under Lil Trash Panda. You can find me on OnlyFans, Lil Cumrag. Neither of those exist. Please don't go looking for them. Or they might actually. Just I didn't make them.
Little Trash Panda. His album's going to blow up because of us.
Yeah. All right. Jules staying on. I'm out. So have a good night, everyone.
Good night, Jed. I love you, bud.
See ya.
Later.